Imagine waking up as an orphan in a freezing gravel grave. Your parents are already rotting corpses in the riverbed. You have a heavy yolk sack stuck to your soft belly. Everything in the water wants to eat you alive. You are a Pacific salmon. Your life is a brutal, thousands of miles death march. You will face spinning metal turbines and massive concrete walls. You will endure agonizing physical mutations just to stay alive. Why do you put yourself through all this suffering? You do it to reproduce exactly once in your life. You invest all your energy into one ultimate spawning event. Then your DNA switches off your body's maintenance systems completely. You literally begin to decay while you are still breathing. But your horrific journey reveals nature's most extreme survival adaptations. You hatch as a tiny, fragile creature called an alevin. You cannot even swim yet. You hide deep in the gravel to stay perfectly safe. You feed off the endogenous energy stored in your yolk. Soon that built-in food source runs completely dry. You must rise to the surface for a crucial gulp of air to fill your swim bladder and achieve neutral buoyancy. You break the surface and take your first real breath. Now you are a fry. You have dark paw marks to camouflage you against rocks. You hunt microscopic insects in the flowing river current, but you are absolutely not the top predator here. A belted kingfisher dives down from the sky above you. A hungry rainbow trout darts through your fragile skull. You press yourself flat against the gravel to hide. You spend your entire first year in constant, grinding paranoia. You learn to fear every shadow that crosses the river. You practice your hunting skills on tiny drifting insect larvae. You misjudge the fast current and completely miss your target. You try again and snap your jaws shut successfully. Every single meal adds a tiny fraction of necessary strength. Then your own body starts to completely betray you. A violent metamorphosis radically rewrites your entire internal chemistry. You are entering the highly stressful smolt stage. You lose your camouflage and turn a flashing bright silver. You suddenly become a highly visible target in the water. Your gills physically remodel to handle the shock of saltwater osmoregulation. A massive natural surge of the hormone thyroxine triggers this incredible transformation. Your heart actually increases in size to boost your metabolic capacity. This fresh to salt transition imposes massive physiological stress on your tiny body. It is a terrifying survival bottleneck that claims millions of lives. An irresistible primal urge pulls you away from your home. You drift downstream toward the vast, open Pacific Ocean. But humans have built massive concrete walls across your path. In the Columbia River Basin alone, over 400 dams exist. Dams are quite literally towering walls of death for migrating fish. They block your passage and dramatically slow the river flows. You must navigate a deadly gauntlet of terrifying man-made obstacles. You pass through confusing fish ladders, spinning turbines, and spillways. Mortality rates through this artificial gauntlet can easily reach 50%. You get battered against the concrete as you tumble downstream. If the spinning turbine blades miss you, the hot water might not. The reservoirs behind the dams heat up under the summer sun. The slow-moving water strips away the dissolved oxygen you desperately need. You survive this traumatic journey through sheer speed and dumb luck. You finally reach the treacherous estuary where the river meets the sea. This is a brutal killing field packed with hungry, waiting predators. You finally reach the open water of the ocean. You migrate toward the highly productive Alaskan gyre to feed. Your growth is absolutely explosive over the next few years. You transform from a small fish into a colossal, muscular predator. You must constantly search for zones of positive growth potential. You track subtle changes in water temperature to find prey. You gorge yourself continuously on rich schools of herring and squid, but the ocean is filled with terrifying and massive predators. Killer whales hunt your school with coordinated, highly intelligent power. You flee desperately, but your incredible speed is often no match. The sharp tooth of an orca rakes across your silver back. You escape by mere inches, carrying a deep, permanent scar. If the ocean predators somehow miss you, the parasites will not. Tiny crustaceans called sea lice latch onto your silver scales. They feed aggressively on your protective mucus, blood, and skin. Large concentrations of open net salmon farms create unnatural, deadly swarms of these parasites. They latch onto juvenile salmon and essentially eat them alive. In some regions, louse-induced mortality for pink salmon exceeds 80%. Microscopic myxozoan parasites invade your flesh and form milky, fluid-filled cysts. These parasites use aquatic invertebrates as secondary hosts to infect you. Bacterial infections like enteric red mouth disease cause massive internal hemorrhaging in your mouth and eyes. The deadly infectious salmon anemia virus attacks your red blood cells. Your gills turn completely pale as you gasp for oxygen near the surface. You fight off these microscopic invaders while constantly swimming for your life. You swim in giant counterclockwise loops across the Pacific Ocean. You follow the ocean currents to optimize your feeding and growth. You spend years fighting for every single calorie in the freezing salt water. Then a powerful genetic switch flips deep inside your brain. You lose all interest in hunting and eating. You begin a desperate migration back to your exact birthplace. You navigate using the magnetic field of the earth. You sniff out the specific olfactory bouquet of your home stream. High levels of testosterone push you to swim faster upriver. From this moment on, you will slowly and painfully starve. You rely completely on stored body fat to fuel your journey. Long-distance migrants have smaller bodies to maximize their hydrodynamic swimming efficiency. The fresh water burns your skin as you re-enter the coastal river mouth. You push your failing body into the increasingly shallow river. Every single kilometer of the upstream swim feels heavier. You must constantly battle against the crushing force of the river. Your body chemistry changes drastically to prepare for the final fight. You burn through over half of your total body energy. The brutal journey exhausts your muscles and drains your stamina. You hide in deep, dark pools to briefly catch your breath, but you cannot stay hidden for very long. The ticking biological clock inside your head demands constant forward movement. Climate change has made this upstream journey even more agonizing. Summer water temperatures now frequently exceed your lethal thermal limits. When the water hits 21 degrees Celsius, it forms a deadly thermal barrier. You lose your aerobic scope and your stored energy drains quickly. Warm water makes you incredibly susceptible to lethal fungal diseases. You develop ulcerative dermal necrosis, creating massive rotting lesions across your skin. Fungal infections quickly overgrow your wounds as you push against the current. You throw your bruised body against cascading, impossible waterfalls. You crash through the violent torrent and land on jagged river rocks. You push through boiling currents while dodging hungry grizzly bears. The bears stand like furry mountains, snatching your fellow pilgrims with horrifying ease. A bald eagle dives like a missile to rip open your back. Your body morphs into a grotesque, terrifying zombie-like monster. Your jaws elongate into a vicious, toothy hook called a kype. Your skin turns a deep, angry, and bruised shade of red. You are hypersecreting cortisol, the primary stress hormone in fish. This intense hormone overdrive heavily accelerates the degeneration of your internal organs. You fight aggressive rival salmon in the shallow gravel beds. You smash into them to secure your right to mate. You bite and thrash until your opponent sinks to the bottom. You release your gametes and your single life purpose is fulfilled. Then, your ruined body simply shuts down completely. You experience a genetically programmed death without the gradual process of aging. It is as if the natural aging process accelerates into a few short weeks. You rot alive in the exact stream where you were born. But your decaying carcass is a crucial part of the forest ecosystem. Your body naturally fertilizes the stream and feeds the next generation. This selfless act maintains the necessary genetic diversity of your own offspring. Without your rotting flesh, the surviving fish fry would be significantly smaller. Your brutal sacrifice ensures that your species will survive another year. It is a terrifying, agonizing existence from the very beginning to the bitter end, but it remains an incredibly perfect evolutionary strategy for species survival.